Millions of Americans step into convenience stores each week and buy a fragile slip of paper called a lottery ticket. For a brief moment, that paper feels like a doorway out of debt, out of routine, out of a life that moves in predictable circles. Yet the same people who believe in a billion-dollar lottery jackpot often doubt something quieter, the slow mathematics of compound interest. They trust lightning but distrust gravity. They believe a single lucky night can transform a life, yet struggle to believe that small investments repeated for decades can do the same. The real question is unsettling. Why does the human mind trust miracles more than patience? Long before lottery jackpots and stock markets existed, the human brain evolved in a world defined by scarcity. Food was uncertain. Shelter was fragile. Survival often depended on rare moments when an unexpected windfall appeared. A successful hunt, a sudden discovery of resources, a piece of fortune that could sustain a tribe through a harsh season. In that environment, the brain learned a simple rule. When a massive reward appears, seize it. That ancient instinct never disappeared. It simply changed costumes. Today, the wilderness has been replaced by financial systems, index funds, and retirement accounts. Yet the same survival circuitry still reacts when we see headlines about billion-dollar lottery jackpots. The brain interprets it as a modern version of the old miracle, an enormous resource drop that could instantly rewrite the future. But modern wealth does not operate according to the rules of the prehistoric world. Money now grows through time, discipline, and compounding structures that unfold slowly across decades. The instinct that once protected survival now struggles to interpret a system where small actions repeated for years quietly outperform dramatic moments of luck. Imagine an 18-year-old setting aside $1,000 each year. Nothing spectacular happens at first. The numbers move slowly, almost invisibly. Meanwhile, the lottery promises transformation overnight. This is where the fracture appears. The brain that once helped humans survive unpredictable landscapes is the same brain that now misreads the quiet mathematics of long-term wealth. Inside the modern financial world, the lottery and long-term investing appear to offer two different paths. Beneath the surface, however, the real difference lies inside the architecture of the human mind. Several psychological mechanisms quietly shape how people interpret risk, reward, and time. One of the most powerful is the availability heuristic, a cognitive shortcut where the brain estimates probability based on how easily examples come to mind. News stories celebrate lottery winners. Cameras capture the oversized checks, the tears, the smiling families. These vivid images become mentally available. What remains invisible are the hundreds of millions of losing tickets quietly discarded each year. The brain remembers the spectacle and forgets the silence. Another force is present bias, the tendency to value immediate rewards more than future ones. When someone is offered $850,000 today, or a larger stream of payments over decades, the brain often treats the present option as more real, more tangible. The future feels distant, abstract, almost fictional. Yet long-term investing depends entirely on respecting that distant future. Then there is compound growth blindness, a limitation in human intuition when dealing with exponential systems. Linear change is easy to understand. $10 becomes 20. 20 becomes 30. Exponential growth behaves differently. A small investment quietly accumulates interest, then begins earning interest on that interest. The process resembles a snowball rolling down a hill, gathering mass with every turn. Benjamin Franklin once demonstrated this phenomenon by leaving a modest sum to compound over centuries. Over time, that small seed grew into millions. Compound interest rarely announces itself with fireworks. It simply grows in the background while attention drifts toward louder promises. The lottery is often described as harmless entertainment, a small indulgence wrapped in the language of possibility. Yet beneath that harmless image lies a quieter cost. Not the few dollars spent on a ticket, but the slow erosion of financial imagination. A lottery ticket offers a seductive narrative. One extraordinary moment will solve everything. Debt disappears. Work becomes optional. Freedom arrives overnight. The mind begins to rehearse this scenario again and again, like a film that promises escape. Meanwhile, something far less dramatic is quietly neglected: the discipline of consistent investing, the patience required for compound interest, the long, uneventful years where wealth grows silently without applause. In many households, this trade happens invisibly. $3 for a ticket, $1,000 a year across decades. The difference between these paths rarely feels urgent in the present moment, yet time remembers every decision. A lottery ticket sells the image of sudden transformation, but the deeper cost is the belief that transformation only arrives through luck. There are two ways people imagine wealth. The first is sudden and dazzling. A jackpot number appears on a screen. Life divides into a clean before and after. The story feels dramatic, almost cinematic, as if destiny briefly tilted in one person's favor. The second path looks almost invisible from the outside. Small decisions repeated year after year. Money set aside while no one is watching. Investments quietly compounding while ordinary life continues. From a distance, the two paths appear completely different. Yet something strange happens after enough time passes. The slow path begins to resemble a miracle, not because luck intervened, but because patience allowed a quiet system to unfold. Compound interest does not shout. It does not promise transformation overnight. It simply works, year after year, like a silent machine building momentum in the dark. Freedom sometimes arrives the same way, quietly. Somewhere tonight, someone will buy a lottery ticket and imagine a life that changes overnight. Perhaps you have imagined that moment too. There is nothing strange about it. The question is quieter than that. When you think honestly about your own future, are you waiting for a sudden jackpot? Or are you building something that grows slowly in the background of your life? Either way, your story is still unfolding.